My sister threw me a family's most awkward baby shower, tacky decorations, embarrassing photos, and even my own maxed-out credit card as a gift. She smirked. No luxury car for my birthday? Enjoy this. I silently crushed my stress ball and smiled. That night, I cut off every insurance policy connected to me. It was only the beginning. It ended with her selling jewelry to help pay rent for a 20-square-meter studio, while my final move was still loading. I should have known the moment I saw the banner. Family's most awkward baby shower in neon pink letters stretched across the entrance of the rented event hall. Cartoonish storks with googly eyes, cheap plastic balloons shaped like crying babies, and a cardboard cutout of me, hugely pregnant, double-chinned, photoshopped into some grotesque parody of myself. My sister's voice echoed as we walked in. "Surprise!" she shrieked, her smirk razor-sharp. "Come on, it's all in good fun." I smiled. My fingers gripped the small stress ball in my pocket. Hard. But I smiled. The room was packed. Cousins, aunts, family, friends, everyone who hadn't bothered to check in on me during my pregnancy. Everyone who hadn't offered a single helping hand. And yet here they were, laughing, snapping pictures, posting on Instagram with hashtags like #FamilyLove and #BestSisterEver. The tables were covered in tacky, glitter-coated decorations. Baby bottles as centerpieces. Pink and blue confetti. And right in the middle, a massive cake shaped like a luxury car. My sister circled me like a shark. "Since you didn't get me a car for my birthday," she whispered, her breath sweet with champagne, "I thought I'd return the favor." Her eyes glittered with cruelty. I said nothing, just squeezed the stress ball a little tighter. Then came the gifts. One by one, people placed presents on the long table. Diapers, onesies, baby books. And then my sister's grand finale. She handed me a card with a dramatic flourish. "Open it," she said, loud enough for the entire room to turn and watch. I opened the envelope. Inside was a receipt. My credit card statement. Maxed out. Thousands of dollars spent on the decorations, the venue, the catering. All charged to my personal card. The one I had once given my mother for emergencies. The same card I had repeatedly asked to be removed from all accounts months ago. The crowd laughed. Someone clapped. My mom giggled behind her wine glass. My sister leaned in again, her voice sugar-sweet but venomous underneath. "Well, you've always been the generous one. We thought you'd want to contribute." I smiled wider. My jaw tightened just enough for her to notice. "Of course," I said softly. They thought I'd break. Cry. Maybe storm out. That was their second mistake. I stood there for the rest of the evening, politely nodding, accepting fake compliments, thanking guests for their generosity. My sister bathed in the attention, basking like the queen she thought she was. But while they celebrated, I was already counting. Counting every account. Every policy. Every signature that still had my name attached to it. By the time I got home that night, I had my laptop open before I even took off my coat. This was only the beginning. It wasn't the first time. That's the part that made my skin crawl as I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, fingers flying across the keyboard. My husband had offered to help, but I shook my head. This part one needed to do alone. Because this had been building for years. My sister, Madison, always knew how to take without asking. And my family? They always knew how to let her. I was 13 when it started. Madison was the difficult one, so naturally I had to be the strong one. My parents' words, not mine. When she crashed Dad's car at 16, I gave up my summer job savings to help cover the deductible. When she dropped out of college for a mental reset, I co-signed her lease because family sticks together. When I got pregnant, they barely acknowledged it. No excited calls. No offers to help. My mother simply said, "You'll handle it. You've always been good at managing." Madison? She got a spa weekend to relax from all the stress of becoming an aunt. The worst part? I kept giving. Quietly. Obediently. My credit card was used so many times under the guise of just temporary that the monthly statements no longer surprised me. I paid off bills I never incurred. Covered vet visits for Madison's designer dog. Even paid for Mom's botched kitchen renovation after the contractor doubled his price mid-project. Each time they said the same thing. "You're the stable one. You can afford it. You're so responsible." And I believed them. Because they were family. Until the night my husband and I sat down and added up the totals. I was 5 months pregnant then. Exhausted. Swollen feet. Living off ginger tea and anxiety. And staring at the spreadsheet made my stomach twist harder than any morning sickness. $78,400. $78,400. That's what I had quietly funneled to my family over the past 4 years. Madison alone accounted for over 45 of it. My mother's emergencies weren't far behind. I should have cut them off that night. I almost did. But then my sister called sobbing. Please, just help me this one last time. It's the down payment for a new SUV. I can't drive my old car with the baby coming. Her baby? The one she wasn't even pregnant with. I transferred the money. Like a fool. When I announced my pregnancy, I naively hoped things might change. Instead, my mother offered advice on how not to gain too much weight, while Madison made sure every conversation shifted back to her birthday, her boyfriend, her yoga certification. When the invitations for her lavish 30th birthday came, I wasn't surprised I didn't get one. I wasn't even angry. But then I saw the photos. A private yacht. Champagne fountains. A giant gold M made of roses. And the cherry on top, my credit card charge for the full catering bill. $12,800. I called my mother. You should be happy for her, honey, she cooed. Besides, you wouldn't have been comfortable on the boat in your condition. Think of the nausea. They were always so good at making me feel like it was for my own good. Like it was kindness. That phone call was the first time I froze the credit card. But not the last. And yet, after everything, they still planned that circus of a baby shower. For me. Except it wasn't for me. It was a performance. A spectacle. An opportunity to turn my pregnancy into their content, their narrative. And of course, they charged it all to my reactivated card, the one they'd somehow gotten back into through old account authorizations my mother conveniently never removed. Even the stress ball in my pocket that night had been a parting gift from my husband. Just in case, he'd said. He knew. He always knew. Now, as I stared at the cascading tabs open on my laptop, the real calculations began. The trust funds my husband and I had set up? My sister's name was still tied as a secondary beneficiary on one of them. I removed it. The life insurance policy my parents had sweet-talked me into co-signing to get a better rate? I filed the paperwork to sever my liability. The joint savings account my mother opened just for emergencies? Emptied. Closed. Gone. One by one, every tether they thought they could pull was cut. And then came the big one. My father's private business loan. They had used my name to secure it, leveraging my credit score to get better terms. My signature was forged on the final extension. My husband had quietly pulled the documents 3 months ago, suspecting as much. I contacted the bank's fraud department. Filed the claim. Attached the forensic analysis my lawyer arranged. They were about to lose a lot more than their catering hall deposit. The calls began the next morning. Madison first. At 7:42 a.m. Blocked. Then my mother. 6 calls in the span of 15 minutes. I let them ring. By noon, my husband texted me from work. They just showed up at the house. Should I answer? No, I replied. Let them stew. They weren't panicking because they felt guilty. They were panicking because the ATM door had finally slammed shut. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one trapped inside. That afternoon, an email arrived. Subject, urgent family discussion from my mother. Honey, please. Your sister is very upset. You're being dramatic. It was a celebration. You always help, that's who you are. We've always been a team. Don't let this one misunderstanding destroy the family. Destroy the family. I laughed. No, I wasn't destroying it. They had been doing that for years. I was simply turning off the lights. The voicemail from Madison came at 5:16 a.m. Her voice was breathless then. You need to answer. This is insane. I just got off the phone with the bank. They're saying the accounts are frozen. The loan is flagged. You can't do this, I have a child on the way. I listened to it twice. Then deleted it. She didn't even hear herself. Her child? My pregnancy didn't seem to exist for them unless it was good for a photo op. But now they suddenly discovered what family meant. My phone lit up again. Blocked. The group chat was a graveyard of unread messages. We can fix this. You're taking this too far. Mom's crying. Always the same script. By noon, I sat at the kitchen table, one hand resting on my growing belly, the other scrolling through the incoming fallout like a spectator at my own quiet revolution. Then came the letter. The one that shifted everything. My lawyer forwarded it with a short note. They moved faster than I thought. Here we go. Inside, an official demand for settlement. My father's loan, the one forged with my stolen signature, was now in default due to my fraud complaint. The business line of credit frozen. Collateralized assets under investigation. Pending criminal charges possible. And the kicker? Their personal house had been cross-collateralized to secure the business expansion. Without the fraudulent extension, everything was collapsing. They never thought I'd actually file. That was their final mistake. The knock on my front door wasn't gentle. 3 loud, sharp bangs. I didn't flinch. My husband stood behind me, hands on my shoulders, silent. Supportive. Solid. Through the peephole, my sister, my mother, and of course my father, red-faced and jittery like a man balancing on the edge of a cliff. I opened the door only halfway. The silence stretched first. Madison was the first to crack. You have to stop this. Her voice cracked. No more smugness. No more power. Just desperation. They're saying we could lose the house. Mom and Dad's house. Our family's house. Our family. I repeated, my voice calm, almost soft. You mean the same family that charged me for my own baby shower and laughed while doing it? Her eyes welled instantly. It was supposed to be funny. A joke. Like using my credit card for $43,000 worth of venue deposits? My voice didn't rise. I kept it even. Surgical. Like stealing my identity for Dad's business loan? My father finally stepped forward. Sweetheart, we can fix this. The lawyer said if we withdraw the complaint, we can negotiate. Maybe they'll reduce the charges. Withdraw it. I smiled, tilting my head slightly. So you admit you forged my signature? He froze. Even my mother's hand shot up instinctively. No one forged anything. It was a misunderstanding. You knew about the expansion. I cut her off. Sharp. Precise. I didn't. And you know it. Her mouth opened and closed like she couldn't find the next lie fast enough. You've always helped us, she whispered finally, her voice shaking now. This is who you are. The responsible one. The strong one. And that's exactly why you thought you could break me. My hand instinctively rested again on my stomach, grounding me. But you didn't. And you won't. The silence outside my door hung heavy. Madison was now outright crying. You'll ruin us, she gasped. Do you understand that? We'll lose everything. I finally leaned forward, my voice barely above a whisper. You already did. Then I closed the door. No slamming. No screaming. Just the cold, definitive click of the lock sliding into place. By the next morning, the legal filings were public. Local business journals picked it up first. Fraud allegations rock father's company amid loan scandal. The messages shifted tone instantly. Please call us, you can't expose this. The media is calling now. We'll pay you back. Now they cared about repayment. Now they cared about my phone number. I made breakfast. Ate in silence. The baby kicked softly beneath my ribs. And for the first time in months, maybe years, my chest wasn't heavy. 2 days later, my husband sent me a screenshot from social media. Madison had listed several pieces of jewelry online. Quick sale. Authentic pieces. Need gone ASAP. Serious buyers only. Desperation had begun its slow march. My mother tried one last email. Long, tearful. Full of faux wisdom about family legacy and forgiveness. I didn't even finish reading it. Instead, I opened my financial app one last time. Reviewed every account, every file, every liability that used to bind me to them. All cleared. All severed. Their safety net was gone. And this time it wouldn't come back. This was only phase 1. My final move was still loading. The unraveling came faster than even I expected. By Monday morning, their world was bleeding from every seam. The bank froze my parents' remaining assets. Madison's accounts were flagged due to the identity theft investigation. Her fiancé's credit card got declined at a grocery store. She posted about it online, still playing the victim, hashtagging it #family-betrayal. The comments weren't kind. People knew. Word spread fast. Then the eviction notice hit. Their suburban castle, the house they hosted every holiday in, the same house where I once sat silent at family dinners as they laughed at my overreactions, now sat under bright orange foreclosure tape. The neighbors whispered. The HOA board scheduled an emergency meeting. My mother called. She hadn't called directly in weeks. My finger hovered over the screen for a moment before I answered. Her voice was small. Tired. Sweetheart, please. We have nowhere to go. There it was. Not rage. Not manipulation. Just raw, cornered desperation. You had somewhere, I replied softly. You just kept pushing me out of it. A long silence followed. Then a whisper. You're pregnant. You shouldn't be carrying all this anger. I actually laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. I'm not angry anymore, Mom. I'm free. And I hung up. The headlines weren't kind either. Local news dug deeper than I anticipated. Daughter's fraud lawsuit exposes years of family financial abuse. Pregnant woman fights back after sister's lavish baby shower becomes crime scene. Crime scene. The phrase made my stomach twist with dark satisfaction. My inbox flooded. Journalists. Advocacy groups. Even distant relatives crawling out of the woodwork, pretending to finally see my side. Too late. Then came Madison's final stunt. She posted a video online, shaky, crying, mascara streaking. My sister, the one who I threw a beautiful baby shower for, has destroyed our family out of spite. She's trying to ruin my life while pregnant. Who does that? She's weaponizing her pregnancy against us. Thousands watched. Comments exploded. But what she didn't expect. The receipts. Screenshots of her charges. Photos of the luxury SUV lease. The forged signatures. The yacht birthday tagged under my name. Someone I never found out who compiled it all into a brutal thread. The audacity of Madison, a masterclass in golden child entitlement. It went viral within hours. The sympathy Madison hoped for evaporated like morning fog. That same night, my husband came home holding two thick envelopes. Certified letters, he said, placing them gently on the table. From their lawyer. Settlement offers. I didn't touch them. Instead, I smiled, standing slowly, feeling the weight of my belly shift. Let them keep spinning, I whispered. I'm not finished yet. Because they still hadn't understood the most important part. This wasn't revenge. This was birth. Of my child. Of my boundaries. Of my freedom. And they were watching it happen, helpless. They thought the worst had passed. They thought I'd stop once they lost the house. They thought wrong. 2 weeks after Madison's viral collapse, the final blow landed. The court ruled in my favor. Full restitution. Legal fees covered. Permanent injunctions barring them from touching anything tied to my name ever again. But that was only paper. The real devastation happened in the shadows they couldn't control. Madison tried to rebuild. She posted heavily filtered photos of herself smiling in that 20-square-meter studio apartment she now called my cozy sanctuary. A single air mattress, 2 folding chairs, a cheap plastic table from a discount store. She even tried to spin it as minimalist living. But the comments betrayed the reality. Weren't you driving a G-Wagon a few months ago? Where's the baby shower money now? Karma tastes expensive, huh? Within days, her employer quietly let her go, citing reputational risks. Her influencer partnerships? Gone. The designer brands she once flaunted? Resold at a fraction of their worth to cover legal fees. Even her so-called friends distanced themselves. No one wanted to be part of her fallout anymore. My father's business partners abandoned ship quickly. Contracts dissolved, licenses revoked, outstanding debts called in. The office space was gutted, emptied like a carcass. A liquidation banner flapped outside the glass doors where their logo once shined. The last remaining staff were left unpaid. Even the family lawyer, the same man who had smugly sent me their first settlement offer, resigned from representing them, citing irreconcilable ethical conflicts. My mother, she broke differently. No more charity luncheons. No more spa weekends. No more carefully curated social circle. The so-called friends she used to host for wine tastings blocked her number one by one. The humiliation crushed her slowly. Every time she stepped outside, she carried the weight of whispers. Did you hear? That's her. The daughter exposed it all. They stole from their own pregnant child. She stopped leaving the apartment altogether. But they weren't done trying to reach me. Late one night, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Madison. Thin, pale, shadows under her eyes. No designer coat, no jewelry, no entourage. I didn't open the door. She stood there for several minutes, shifting on her feet like a child caught in the rain. Finally, she slid an envelope under the door. Inside was a single photo. A sonogram. Her son. My nephew. And a note in her messy handwriting. He'll grow up with nothing now. You've made sure of that. I stared at the paper for a long time. But I felt no guilt. Because my daughter. The one kicking softly beneath my ribs as I stood in my quiet, warm home, safe and free. She would grow up knowing what boundaries looked like. What self-respect looked like. what freedom from manipulation tasted like. The final message came from my mother. 2:07 a.m. I hope one day you'll understand what you've done. I read it, deleted it, turned off my phone. My husband stirred beside me, half asleep, whispering she's already a fighter, like her mom. I smiled in the dark. No more stress balls. No more family performances. No more chains. Just silence. Just peace. They built the fire. I simply let it burn. And I was finally warm.